Alright, being 7 o'clock, I call the June 5th, 2013, 18 meeting to order. Pledge, please.
Yeah, it works. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's too loud for you, Edward. That's too bad.
That's it.
Roll call, please.
Stephen Kennedy,
Yeah.
Rick St. Jean,
I'm here.
Martha's absent tonight, Tim Otterbach,
Here?
Peter, not sure yet, Dennis Legendre,
Here.
Roy Barron,
Yep.
Condict Billings.
Here. Next item on the agenda, May 23rd, 2018, Mr. Rick St. Jean, P.O. Box 367, Center Ossipee, New Hampshire. Dear Mr. St. Jean, at their regularly scheduled Selectmen's meeting held on Monday, November 21st, 2018, the Board of Selectmen unanimously voted to appoint you to serve as a full member of the Planning Board. Your term will expire March of 2019. You need to be sworn in by the town clerk prior to participating on the commission. The board would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your attempt at participating on the planning board. We hope you will find this to be a rewarding experience for you. Anytime we can be of service to you, please feel free to contact us about address. Sincerely, Ellen M. White. Welcome to the board, Mr. St. Jean.
Thank you.
Minutes to May 1st.
Make a motion to accept them. I'll second.
You weren't here, Rex, so you can't second it.
What was that?
May 1st, which was a month ago. Peter wasn't here either. So I'll second them. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Minutes of May 15th, 2018.
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded.
I have a question about page 4 of page 6 of 6 on item number 2. There's a name that wasn't put in there for.
Yeah, we didn't know who he was,
He never announced himself.
Oh.
so
Okay,
that's why the.
that's a good reason.
Yep. So if anybody knows who it was,
No.
any more discussion?
Nope.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Financial report. Anybody got any questions or? Doing pretty good. We only spent 23% of the budget. Unsatisfied. Anybody got comments on them?
Connie, can we get an update from White Mountain survey on which one of these outstanding items for Valley Point has actually been satisfied? Because I'm unsure, and I don't think any of us are really sure, because I know he came in at one point and said a couple of them had been satisfied, but it would be nice to get an update on that, just so we know where we stand.
Well, he's gotta meet them all before we can give,
That's true, that's true.
so, when he's got them all satisfied, he'll come in and tell us.
Okay, fair enough,
We'll go over them.
fair enough.
And we did send a letter to Verizon because the fire chief's letter is still not sent, is that correct, Laura? Okay. He's a little disturbed about it too.
What was that?
I said he's a little disturbed about it too. Let you know, didn't he, Steve? He was mad about it?
Since the whole project began.
All right, I'll have a public hearing now on case number 18-1, SPRA Hobbs Brewing Company. The owner is Mountain Granary LLC of 755 White Mountain Highway, Route 16, tax map 130, lot 9, has applied for a site plan review amendment for a proposed brewery business. This site was previously approved by the planning board for a distillery along with associated site improvements. Wait a minute.
Make a motion, we accept the application.
They're also requesting a special use
Yeah,
permit.
no, that's second. That's a special, I mean, that's a secondary. The only thing I missed on the application was fire chief. No update from him the way you've changed things, so, making conditional, Peter,
Conditional acceptance of the application
right,
pending a letter from the fire chief.
I'll
right.
second.
Made and seconded, any more discussion on the application? Having none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Now you may speak, Mr. Lawler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board. For the record, Scott Lawler from Norway Plains Associates. I'm civil engineer assigned for this project. With me tonight is Ash Fishman, who is part owner of Hobbs Brewing Company, and we represent Mountain Granary LLC for amendment to the site plan. As noted by the chair, what we're requesting is an amendment to an approval by this planning board on June 7th, 2016 for a distillery at this location. I'm not sure how many of the members have changed over the time, so if the board will allow me, I'll go over quickly, give a brief overlay of the property. Again, this location is 755 White Mountain Highway. It's located on the west side of Route 16, White Mountain. It's the Mountain Granary and the Ace Hardware store. Currently, we've got the Ace Hardware and Hardware store and the greenhouses associated with the Mountain Granary. It's got two curb accesses off Route 16, and we've got some hop fields. It's a 28 parcels located in the roadside commercial district, so it meets all zoning requirements for lot sizing and frontage. As part of the property. It currently has 3 wells that are located in the rear. There's an existing septic system for the hardware store in Mountain Granary located here. It's a 500 gallon per day septic system. It's got a stormwater management system that was all part of the approval that Norway Plains represented as part of the Mountain Granary when they did the hardware store expansion. in 2011 timeframe. So that's generally the location. We note here existing foundation that was constructed as part of the approval. So in 2016, on behalf of the Mountain Granary, we presented a site plan to the board to construct a 8,050 square foot distillery building to be located in this area here, at which point it was going to have about 1,000 square feet of retail and tasting. It was also going to have 2 rick houses, each one about 1,500 square feet. And the parking configuration layout was just like you see here, where the entrance, parking in the rear, this driveway stuck out, and the 2 rick houses were in this location. This went through site review. It met all the requirements. It received state permits for NHDOT for the expansion of use for the utilizing the 2 existing driveways. We received an alteration of terrain permit approval for the expansion, disturbing more than 100,000 square feet. We added the combined of the distillery plus the recently at that time hardware store. It also received a septic system approval for 300 gallons per day. The domestic waste located in this location here. We presented through the site plan approval all the typical requirements, construction details, lighting plan, landscaping plan, and everything. At that time, we didn't need any. We did not require a special use permit because the gallons per day was less than the threshold for being within the Water Resource Protection District. So much of what I've just described is generally staying the same. What we have here is a little more detailed location. Again, we're proposing a brewery located on the exact same footprint. In fact, the concrete foundation was constructed as part of the site plan approval and building permit for the distillery. They got to a certain stage, they stopped and decided to reevaluate the use, and they have decided since that point that they want to change the light manufacturer from distillery to a brewery. So Hobbs Brewing Company is teamed up with Mountain Granary LLC to utilize the existing foundation that's in place. Essentially, actually almost 4/5 of the building that's a full basement now, will actually be filled in, and it'll be put slab on grade. There will be a small section at the end here that will have a little bit of basement for storage. That location had been previously earmarked for fire suppression as part of the distillery approval and design plans. Because the square foot has dropped below 10,000 square feet and the type of use, all discussions that we've had to this point with the fire chief is indicated that the building does not require fire suppression. So that's part of the sort of process that we've been going through. So again, the building will generally be will be in the exact same location. The parking and configuration, which as you can see is generally the same. The one thing we have done is we've relocated the dock to a better location for what their proposed use is. So instead of having a loading dock in the back here, we've actually stuck it on the side, I guess. We've stuck it on the side here. This allows the tractor trailers to come in, back in, and offload at the loading dock. The existing or the approved domestic septic system will remain the domestic septic system that's designed for 300 gallons per day, which easily meets the requirement for the number of employees and those visitors that come to look at the brewing process. They will again have the same 1,000 square feet approximate area in the front that will be used as a tasting and retail shop for the brewing company. One thing we are adding as kind of a structure that's a little bit different than the distillery process is we're requesting the planning board's approval for a 16 by 24 pavilion to be located in the front here. It'll be open, nicely wood framed with beams, and inside that will be some underlights. And the Hobbs Brewing Company has a 1935 pickup truck that they'd like to display there with a logo and, you know, maybe some brew barrels in the back to kind of dress it up. So it's more of an advertisement facility, and that's located in the front here. As far as so in the plan packet, you'll see that we've updated the grading plan, we've updated the utility plan, upgraded the landscaping and lighting plan for the slight adjustments that we just talked about. So they're all part of the packet. The one sort of one change that is different than the distilling process is the commercial wastewater produced by the facility. When it was a distillery, they weren't going to be distilling that frequent, and so when they did their cleanup and cleaning all their equipment, they had approval for 2 4,000-gallon holding tanks located in the rear of the building. So all the waste would get collected in floor drains, and it would piped out to these holding tanks, and then periodically the holding tanks would be pumped out and disposed in appropriate locations. But with the brewery process, they're actually going to be doing more frequent batches and thus require more frequent cleaning. So we're working with MJS Engineering to design a on-site commercial septic system that will be located sort of in the back here. So, excuse me. So located as depicted here in the back will be a commercial septic system. Prior to the sort of typical stone and pipe leach fields, you'll see 2 of them. We have a series of tanks. This is all going to be a design provided by Advanced On-Site Solutions, also known as the Clean Solutions. It's a manufactured, basically a manufactured mini wastewater treatment facility. We've got holding tanks, so we've got a couple septic tanks. The liquids from that goes into an aeration tank, which has got aerators, plastic medias that allow for the biodegrading of the sludge. Then it leaves that into a settling tank, allows even more time for it to settle out before draining into a pump station, and then discharged and dispersed in these leach fields. This is a fairly costly system, but it provides excellent stormwater treatment. This type of on-site solutions, AOS, is often used on small camp lots where their disposal fields are right next to great bodies, lakes, water bodies, and it's all approved by NHDES. This system will be designed in accordance with NHDES approvals, and we hope to have receive approval from DES shortly. We'll be submitting the design by the end of the week, and then we anticipate approval shortly thereafter. This AOS type system, it requires the owner to take on a maintenance program where qualified individuals from AOS come out and do cleanings, routine cleanings, twice a year, 3 times a year. They'll start off more frequently until the field sort of established itself. And we've designed into this the ability for growth. So the tanks are a little oversized now. The size of the fields are oversized based upon the startup. Hobbs Brewery is anticipating a startup somewhere around 25 to 3,000 barrels per year, with the chance to expand from that. And so what we've done is provided some redundancy in the tanks, as well as area to expand the tanks area for them, so that it allowed for the system to grow as the company grows. So we built that into it. So we think we've done a really good job addressing the effluent quality with this type of system. MJS Engineering has designed systems for this for other breweries, most notably Throwback Brewery down in Hampton, and they are equally about the same size as what Hobbs Tavern looks to do. And they've been monitoring that, and the state's been monitoring, and everything's been great with that. I think, otherwise, the DOT, the AOT, all those permits are still valid. They're still applicable to this use. The area of disturbance is the same. The grading is generally the same. We made some very minor tweaks because of the relocation of the loading dock from this side to this side. We've redone the grading slightly to accommodate that, but generally speaking, and that's hence why we're here in front of the board as an amendment, is that this is virtually the same site plan that you've seen before, with the change of distillery to brewery and the addition of this AOS, Advanced On-Site Solutions septic system.
Minus your fire suppression.
Minus the fire suppression. And obviously that was a very big component in the previous approval. The cost of it was very high, and I'm sure that weighed heavily in the decision to possibly switch from a distillery to a brewery.
So we'll need another letter from the fire chief.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, Mr. Fishburne has been in contact with Chief
Riley.
Yeah, Chief Riley, Adam. In fact, had a conversation with him via emails today, pending his review of the plans, but based on everything before. And we did have a letter from the fire department when it was a distillery. Again, I know the difference is that was sprinkled, this is not sprinkled, but all indications at this point is it doesn't require a sprinkler system because of the square footage.
Your past letter's no longer valid.
Excuse me?
Your past letter ain't valid anymore.
I understand that.
Change of use.
I understand. That's what I meant to say, or what I was trying to say, was that the site configuration, the turning radiuses, the ability to get a fire truck around, everything that normally is part of the fire chief's review has not changed. Obviously, the difference is the fire suppression. At that point, I offer to answer any questions about the amendments, and obviously Ash is here to speak upon the brewing process and questions about the business. Thank you.
Tim?
Yeah, I have one question. If
Sure.
you're going to have a tractor trailer coming in there and pulling into that tongue at the back and then backing up to the building, I'm assuming when he leaves, he's going to have to back out of there?
Correct. He's going to have to pull forward, back up a little bit, and then circle around that way. That's correct.
Okay. And you've confirmed that the turning radius around the west side of the building is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
It looks a little tight there.
he's got room to swing and make the corner.
All right.
Yes, we have templates that we use around.
You can't make that, you get a transit license.
Depends on the size of the trailer.
Well, I'm just saying, if they had a 53-foot trailer, which is, max allowable, that's gonna get pretty snug, especially with cars parked in that parking area.
You still should be able to make it all right.
Yep.
Yeah, the amount of deliveries that will be received with a full tractor trailer might be one or twice a week at the most.
Okay.
And again, the parking in the rear is mostly employees, and so we got more than what they'll actually have for employees.
Is there any proposal for visitors to come and watch the brewing process?
From inside the building, I believe they'll have some.
What's the question?
If you have any proposal for visitors to come into the building to watch the brewing process?
I mean, it's gonna be visible from the tasting area.
Okay.
We have 3 6-foot wide windows that will be there behind the tasting room bar.
Okay, and then the parking to accommodate that will be where?
That's the
It's all
front.
based on that plan and what Scott has come up with.
Okay.
That patio, no, isn't it, Ash?
I'm sorry?
The patio,
That is
Patio
a-
area is new, yeah.
that is new.
okay? Is that pavilion gonna be fenced off so that people cannot climb on that truck?
No, but there'll be proper signage.
Electric fence.
People can't read. You ought to know that, Nash. Anybody else got any other questions? Anybody from the audience? I have one letter. It was read to, sent to Steve with a CC to Laura, and I'm gonna let her read it.
Steve should read it, it's just. This is a letter from Nick Castell. He's in a butter to the property. He
He's
says,
the one, before you get, he's the one with the long building on the right-hand side.
He's the lighthouse building.
he is requesting a postponement of the public hearing of June 5th. I spoke with one of his employees today and told him that was up to the planning board to decide, but, this is Dear Steve, pursuant to our discussion of late yesterday, and falling on the fact that we did not receive a copy of your May 23rd notice until June 4th, and neither am I available to attend tonight, this is to respectfully request a postponement of the hearing. It says, bottom line, I have initial concerns, including but not limited to A, the development of 2 additional subsurface disposal systems corresponding radiuses may have on the future development of our property situate at 775 White Mountain Highway. And 2, I have no information on the applicant's water consumption of the existing or purported expansion of on-site wells to the degree their use may diminish our groundwater resolve, and as to whether the corresponding well radiuses encumber or restrict our utilities. And C, I have had no opportunity to consult with an engineer as to all of the utility questions which may arise or to the subdivision plan itself. At a minimum, I respectfully submit that I be granted the opportunity to review the one or more possible abutter impacts with an engineering firm. Says we merely need to be assured that there is no negative effect that would restrict our property from development or environmental impact or encumbrance. Says your acknowledgement of receipt of this request would be appreciated. Respectfully submitted, Nick Costello.
Ms. Dash, is your water consumption gonna change at all from what it was in the last proposal?
Isn't that what?
Water consumption, is that
Yeah.
gonna change from your last proposal, and how much if it is?
I mean, I would say it is only in the sense that we're increasing our septic to be able to handle more.
I'm not asking what the septic is, but that's basically state. I asked you all the standards, you're talking about your well consumption, the
Yeah.
groundwater.
So currently, I believe the well that we're pulling off of, and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is 100 gallons per minute right now, flow rate, and our goal is to increase production and sell more beer.
Over what your last plan was.
Over what our, yeah, yep. I mean, I would think that the volume going into barrels and sitting would be similar. It's just that we're gonna be able to turn this over a little bit quicker.
That's what the gentleman's biggest question, I think, is the well draw off the water table is his biggest concern. The leach fields, I do believe this, is where they located from his property line?
They're located over here, Mr. Barron, and they meet the, what they call the nitrate setback distances. So
Do you
there's
know
2
where his well is?
There is a well that we noted that was in this far corner here, which is, this is a 100 scale plan, which is probably about 300 feet away from where we're proposing the small 300 gallon per day. And then, of course, the larger fields are located over here.
Does anybody know what the gentleman next to him has for a business?
Yeah, he's the one that does the repacking.
Very quickly, Scott.
So, I guess my
The
que-
original
septic system is, that the septic system to the front of the property closer to 16, that's in the same location, that hasn't changed from the other plan?
Absolutely.
So that's still the same distance from the well as it was before?
Absolutely.
Now, to
Yeah.
continue my train of thought is, he did not include in that letter what his further expansion might be. If he's gonna come in, if he wants to postpone it, he should have, because he's talking about future planning, he should have
No,
put something in there.
No, he wanted to know whether the consumption of the water or the sewage would affect his future thing.
Expansion.
Expansion, if he wanted to expand.
That was
He
my,
wants,
that's my point. It was he planning to expand his
Well,
business in the future?
who knows?
I'm sorry, before we get too far off track, has he quoted any RSAs that would give him the, that we would have to fall under to deny the approval of this plan because of his concerns that he's raised in that letter?
I don't see anything valid, but I do understand
I-
the question.
I don't, what he's asking is for him to be able to go to an engineer with these plans and say, what effect do you think? And it's just hypothetical on the engineer's part, and it's hypothetical on Scott's part, that it's not gonna affect his property. So, I mean, the man has a legitimate concern. I don't blame him. I would say that, this is not gonna get approved until they get their permits anyways. So it's gonna give him time to have that done.
I think so. I also think that groundwater, that's part of our groundwater resource.
That's right. It's
I
under
don't
the
think
water
they can,
resource
don't
district.
believe they can pump it down enough to affect it. The only effect he might have is the septic system, and if they're built, overbuilt to the approved, I don't see a problem there either.
Well, I mean, the septic system,
That's
my thought was, yes, that septic system might take care of what they're gonna do at 3,000 or 4,000 barrels a year.
It's approved more to
But-
them to do.
When he gets to 10,000 barrels a year, if he goes beyond that, what happens?
He can't go beyond, he can't go beyond what the septic system approved for by law in the business.
Right. So what we're applying for, Mr. Chairman, now is the future of 10,000 barrels per day.
That's the-
So the septic system we are going to get approval for by DES will be not for what they're going to produce at startup, but what their future endeavors would be. I mean, anticipated. I mean, I think there's going to be a limitation of what they can do beyond that based upon the size of the facility they're located at which point then they have to come back through the planning board and back through for any approvals at that point.
Expansion.
At that point, so.
And the amount of water that you use, that's permitted also. You get to a certain damage, you have to have a special permit, and it's that gallons go up, the permit gets more and more restricted.
State's
A
very,
lot more
very fussy on
requirements, so
that. You're right.
Water usage won't be a problem because you'll be washed by the state.
Well, they need more than a 75-foot radius in what they're gonna.
I think we should poll the board whether they think we should continue or not. I don't see. Do
No,
know-
we have to continue. You can't give him a permit because, I mean.
No, I understand that, but the,
So,
I was talking about the public meeting thing the guy asked
Do
for.
we know how deep these wells are, these existing wells?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. My point was, the June 6th meeting on and on, for public meeting, right?
the what?
Did the June 6th public meeting, did I hear the letter right?
That's today.
He was asking for today's meeting to be postponed.
Today's,
Oh, today, okay, I see. Now, there's no need to postpone today, we'll wait to do that anyways.
Yeah, he only sent it out today.
But I agree with you, Connie, that certainly, since there are approvals of pending
prior to us giving a final approval on the site plan review. That should give the abutter ample time to,
Well, the abutter has 30 days to appeal.
right, contact his engineer and get him out here with the appropriate questions or whatever.
And I mean, even if we give conditional, which we have
We
to
have to.
because the permits are not here, the fire
Right,
chief's
right,
letter is not here.
right.
Right now, it's just the commercial ones, right, for the new commercials, Bleachfield, the fire chief, just those two.
I don't know, I was gonna ask about the all-terrain permit.
That didn't change that much, that should be all right.
That's correct. Mr. Barron's correct. The amount, the impervious coverage actually decreased because we
Well,
reduced it.
according to the letter, if you change anything,
You have to go back through.
you have to go back through the alteration of terrain.
That is correct.
If the change is,
You decreased there and not increased it, right?
it decreased the impervious coverage.
But you're increasing,
I think when you
No.
decrease, you don't have to,
That's
but if
right.
you increase, you have to.
You have,
That's how I remember the law. A verified letter would be nice. That way nobody would avoid.
you
that.
must submit revised plans for a permit. Yeah. Prior to any changes in construction details or sequences. So that's saying to me that you have to notify them again.
And get their approval.
I think that would be a problem, they decrease.
I-
Yeah.
They don't care about decrease, increase, they're very fussy about it.
Now, with the realignment of that snowmobile trail, is that going to require removal of additional trees along the tree line?
I believe there's, as we show on the plan, we do call out for a little bit of expansion of the tree line to go around it.
Okay.
And then we put a note that selective cutting, to avoid.
I see it.
Clear cutting. I mean,
They've already cut the trees.
this is further.
They haven't cut them on the
Along,
side.
along
On the
the
side, they cut the front.
side, yeah.
They scalp the front, yeah. Did you have, again,
I'm sorry?
did you get the director's permission to remove all those?
I'd have to ask our general contractor.
Thanks, Ash.
Drop them again.
Come on, first. Step on.
Scott, could you tell us what permits you have to have? Still waiting for, or what you got to apply for?
Right, we have the NHDES subsurface disposal system for the commercial septic system. Again, the domestic one out front has been approved, and there has been no changes to the design that warrants going back through them. I'll have to confirm with AOT, but with the reduction in impervious coverage and there's typically like a 10%, even you're allowed up to 10% increase. They just want to be notified of these changes.
Correct.
So we'll submit the slight modification to AOT. But that's the only state permits that we need to apply for.
I can think of push a letter from the
Fire
fire
chief,
chief.
absolutely.
It's just 3
The,
minutes.
Anything on the wells and water?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't require public water submittal because these are non-drinking water. They're using the water for a process, going through the brewing process, so it doesn't require public water supply.
but
And
where
so-
is the public water supply coming for the spectators?
They-
Or the
Participants,
Well, we're-
they're participants.
Just because they're drinking your beer.
You stand corrected.
That's for the taps out in the pavilion.
Are we safe to assume that domestic water is going to be coming from that well as well?
There's 3 wells.
Domestic water will be
Survey
for the
project.
employees. If they require drinking water, they'll have bottled water for that purpose.
So the answer is no.
That is correct.
So there will be no potable water coming from the wells.
Correct.
Correct.
But that water is being used to,
Manufacture
That's right.
your beer, so I'm assuming it's going through a full filtration and whatever treatment.
It's boiled
You
to
have an operator.
Okay,
212
that's,
plus.
I just wanted to hear that.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna care after third or fourth beer anyways.
Yes.
okay.
You know, that process hasn't changed from when it was a distillery to the brewery. You know, we contacted the NHDS water supply. We got emails and confirmation that public water supply would not be approving the wells because it's a non-potable, it's non-consumption water, which is not, it's potable, but it's non-consumptible by the general public. The business employs less than 25 employees per well, so it doesn't trigger what they call a non-transient, non-community water supply report.
So we need to have some type of motion?
Have to have conditional.
So I'll make a motion that we grant conditional approval of the site plan review pending a letter from.
Amendment. Site plan amendment.
Site plan amendment, pending a letter from, well, state approval for the septic system, the new proposed septic system, and a letter from the fire chief. I don't believe we need any, do we need anything from alteration of
Well,
terrain?
They have to be
Yes.
notified,
Well, they have to be notified, he just
correct?
CC us on the letter that he sends them?
Well,
I don't think
no,
he's,
because
I don't think he's gonna get a response back, that's why I'm saying.
oh, he will.
Yeah.
They have to respond to him.
Okay, then
So that letter.
copy of the response.
Response and,
That's the 3 things.
That's it.
the other thing, I'm worried about the water.
What
Yeah.
water?
But when you have people coming into your building, especially if the adults are drinking beer, and what are the kids gonna drink?
Bottled
Bottled
water.
water.
Bottled water, I would like that as part of that, so that, you know, it's there.
I don't think that's in our jurisdiction.
Yes, it is.
I don't believe it.
Well, we don't have we don't have a town health inspector or anything, right? That's.
Yes, we do, right there.
Completely rely on. What do you mean health inspector? Listen, I know you were,
Yes, sir.
I know you were a builder at one point in time, but I don't want you even trying to tell me what's.
Steve has a new hat to wear.
My question is.
That's my job.
All right, this is part of your
Yeah.
investigation. Okay.
Dennis,
Him and Ellen.
Ash,
Yes, sir.
you will have an operator that will be taking care of your water system, right?
That's correct.
So your wells will be tested and you do your periodic and monthly checks as required by the state.
Only if we were to use it as potable drinking water.
Well, I think what's gonna happen is we went through this, I had an operator's license for 25 years. If you have a spigot, anything where people can draw water in that building to drink, you have to fall under, you're gonna have to check it. We went through that. If you have a spigot that someone can drink from, then you have to have that water checked and it has to be used that way.
I don't recall anyone bringing that up when we got approved for
Well,
a
you
distillery.
might wanna check for that because that.
We didn't,
They
that
will tell
wasn't,
you that, yeah.
that wasn't something we had to go through when we were approved for the distillery, and that was the same setup.
There must be a double standard somewhere then, because if you have a spigot anywhere where someone can draw water, your licensed operator will have to make sure that that water is clean.
Excuse me, just to take that one step forward, if you have a retail store and you sell clothing, but you've got a spigot, I don't think the state would require you to get a public water supply approval if you, I think.
Town water. So you have a well or what?
I think, yeah, I don't know. This is a well.
You have people working there, right?
Yes, but there's less than 25 employees.
I understand that, but you have visitors. That's something you might want to ask.
I think that
Well, I'm not saying it's,
I wouldn't make it a thing. I go back to the parade house next to the state shed down on Old 28. We made that gentleman put a sign up, not portable water. And he's the one that came in and said, well, I don't want, it's not good water. Not drinkable. And we made him put the sign up.
Okay, well,
So
I understand all that, but they're
I have a
offering.
problem with putting a sign up about drinkable water.
Yeah, but I don't want Ash to put that sign up and everybody
No.
gonna say, well, if I can't drink the water, I'm not gonna drink the beer.
There's an RSA that requires that we'll follow all the state laws and regulations
you're
that
operating
allow us
well.
to
All right,
do everything in accordance with the state laws.
That's right.
That's why we hired.
Certainly something you would want to just look into, just from a state level, just to,
course.
for your own assurances.
and you wanna add to,
I have nothing to add, I don't think,
all state, federal, and local.
oh, yes, and that he follows all state, local, and federal laws,
And I second that.
Regulations.
regulations.
Yep.
Roy has made second, Peter's made a motion that, and Roy has seconded it. Fire chief's letter, alteration
Of
of
terrain.
terrain, reply, and
Septic.
septic acceptance by the
Approval.
DES. All those, any more discussion on it? All those in favor? The motion carries.
Sorry, Steve.
Now we go into.
I didn't know that was part of your thing.
the
I
second
don't want you
part,
to spend
which is special use. And he's gone over everything. I would say that special use would be the same conditions that we put on the amendment.
I agree with that.
Would you like to make it?
The motion?
I'd like to make a motion that his special use permit application is complete.
It's not complete.
It's
You
not
don't have
complete.
the fire chief's letter.
Okay. With the exception of
Right.
the letter.
That's why.
Yes, okay, right, with the same conditions as
Right.
the amended site plan review.
Correct.
Second.
Any discussion on that? If there is no discussion, I call for a vote. All those in favor? I guess the motion carries. See how easy it was tonight, Scott?
We'll think
That
of
was the
something,
application.
we'll think of something
That
after
was
you
the
leave.
Yes, he made a motion for the conditional application.
No, but the application was taken care of under the site plan review. But if you wanna go the other way, we'll go the other way.
You want me to withdraw that motion?
Yes, withdraw.
I withdraw my motion.
That's not what I,
The application, well, no, because I made the,
We've already done the vote, you can't withdraw the vote, you have to withdraw the vote.
no,
He asked for the planning board to approve the application as complete for the special use permit.
Right,
And you
based
should-
upon the conditions we
correct.
placed on the site plan review modification, amendment,
And
Right.
that was his motion,
right.
the application. And we voted on the application. The condition was the fire chiefs. Now, the special use permit, the application has been taken care of. Now we have the same conditions which we had on the special on the
Site plan.
I understand that part, but I took his motion as though he was saying that the special use
application
Is complete.
is complete except for the fire chief's
Right.
letter.
So
Right,
now,
which was what
Which
you
is-
voted on.
right,
Which, yes, right.
Okay,
so
Now we're
now,
voting on
the approval of the
Approval.
special use.
correct.
right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I knew what I was talking about.
You can't withdraw your motion unless you withdraw the vote.
That is right.
I knew what I was talking about.
Okay,
Takes a minute to catch up.
I know, painstaking.
so did anybody make a motion to
Make a
approve the
motion, we
special
grant.
use permit
Grant the special use permit with
with the three
the same
noted
conditions
conditions?
as the amendment.
That was Ward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ward seconded that.
I just did now.
Yep,
Okay.
I
okay.
got volunteered, I'll do it.
All right.
All right, so the special use permit will be granted with the conditions of fire chief's letter, altering
Alteration of frame.
septic design accepted by the state, and all state, federal, and local regulations shall be followed. Do I hear a vote on that? No, discussion, any more discussion? The vote, all those in favor? Motion is carried.
Is Laura happy now?
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, Scott.
welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Scott, how long do you think, 6 weeks?
For the deer?
At most, at most.
Yeah.
All right, so we could figure sometime back in August,
July.
Why?
6 weeks would be August.
Oh, we got a meeting now and 2 more meetings in July.
It'll be close to
Look at the 1st of June.
Yeah. In the middle of July, it's not 6 weeks.
That'd be close.
Not for our meeting. It won't be.
It hasn't come back.
Scott,
It went out the 10 days prior.
next time
Yeah, I
we
didn't
get
realize.
you. What about this?
No, I'm just saying, I can't, every project, right, they're all gonna give that.
Like food, these things different.
What?
Okay.
I know.
Case number 18-1, lot merger, David and Kimberly Vance, of 4 and 6 Trails Lane, tax map 73, lots 65 and 66, is applying for a lot merger. We don't have anything from the. We have property cards and we do not know whether the tax was paid, is that correct?
Oh, that was in there.
No? Not in my packet.
Just combine these two lots, right?
Uh-huh.
This should be it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, one that has, yeah, one has.
Taxes have been paid. Or, we're talking about 0.65 acres and a 0.344 acres for combined, just about an acre.
This one.
Make a motion to we approve
There you
the.
go.
Second it? Don't make no difference, let Dennis have that one.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve application, case for 18-1 LL. Any discussion? What are you, leaving us?
He's trying.
Sneak it out, Steve?
Somebody lock the door?
He's being subtle.
Ah,
Good.
I'm being quiet.
no, Steve, come on, we got to stop.
I'm all set,
It's
Dick.
down on,
There's nothing on the agenda. I'm all set. I will see you tomorrow.
we missed the one down.
Good night.
What's it called? I can't think of the name of it.
Need to vote at this point, don't we, or discussion?
I'm asking if there's any discussion, no
Nope.
discussion.
No discussion.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried.
Oh, yeah.
Goes down there and this is the subdivision map.
You borrow your pen a second. I'll walk off with a briefcase and living room, hopefully the dogs don't eat it.
Morse Pit, we have not heard anything. Gravel Pit revised application for review and approval.
Are we printing these ahead of time, or are we printing them when they pick them up? Well, I noticed on the new ones, you put all the board members' name on there where they sign. We never used to do that because we changed the paperwork, somebody don't get voted in or somebody quits.
No.
You gotta change your name.
No, I believe you put those on for,
Right
the
here.
approval of these, is that correct?
Reviewing right here.
I understand that.
We never used to do that. We just put members and we just sign it. You look at the original, there's no names on them, it just says members.
The originals are all attached. to what
Yeah, I
you
got
have.
the original, and there's no names on the original, and you add the names, I'm just wondering how much paper we print ahead. If we don't print ahead, it's not a big deal, if you print ahead, then we're wasting paper. Because the members don't stay the same, that's all my only point, I really don't care, it's just a
Planning
point.
board, it's got no names on it, correct?
We just put members, and whoever has a member signed them that night, that's all.
Yeah, take your name off, doesn't matter.
Going around with it.
If you print them ahead, the names might be a problem, but that's my point.
Unless you have the separate sheet as the signature sheet at the last of the.
But if she's still printing ahead, it's still a problem.
All right, is everybody, anybody want to make any amendments to this?
I just think we need to drop the names off and just put chair, vice chair, chair or members are fine. 'Cause anybody can sign it anyways.
I'm talking about
The other thing on page one was the formula for determining the reclamation cost. Boy, it doesn't make sense, the last paragraph.
Which page is that, Roy?
Very first page,
Oh, okay.
the last paragraph.
That's because you go back to page,
That's also the
Ken.
RSA.
All right, makes sense looking at it that way. Other than the,
I'm still waiting for submittal of the proposals for what the going rate is
Right.
now.
yeah,
Now, on page 10, it says, all rates based on rental and/or contractor quotes obtained March 2007. Do you want to update that date?
Yeah, when I get some
When we
new
get
quotes.
There we go. Well, I just wanted to
Come
make
on,
sure.
Tim, we gotta have figures to put in there,
I
you
got
can't
you.
change.
No, I just happened to see the date. I just wanted to mention that.
Well, loam right now, just to buy it is $24 a yard to buy a decent loam, never mind the trucking. I know that because I bought a loam yesterday.
I'm just saying,
And,
I'm waiting on figures so I can finish updating this page.
So they'd be smart to save their own loam off the pit.
On page 11, where you have item number 5 at the top of the page, provide $7 per butter for your application fee. Is that still our rate for that? Okay. You don't want to bump it up to 10?
No, I think that should come off and go on the lease, shouldn't it? We put everything else on the fee schedule.
Oh, on page 10?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, page 11.
No, but you'll move it to
Number 5.
you'll move it to
No.
page 10.
No,
No,
Take it out of here,
changing
period.
it to per fee schedule.
Per fee
per
schedule.
fee
Oh,
schedule.
all right, I got you.
We spent all that time making all these fees. and
You
put
are
it-
correct.
So move it to the page, right.
Yeah, so that way it's one form to be.
Yep.
Yep.
Nope, I have no problem with that.
Yep.
And the one thing I wanted to bring up here, method of payment on page 6. Letter of credit, other bonding, we don't accept letter of credits any longer. right?
No,
So
no
that-
bonds, it's all cash.
Okay, so cash. so-
Okay,
Yeah,
I
she-
spoke
She's got
with,
that in red. She's already got it red to take off
Where's
I
that?
spoke with
on your,
Ellen
yes, I
and
was-
Jesse
On page 6. of
as to
the,
whether or not they're still doing bonds.
They're doing bonds for timber,
Right.
but
They-
they're not doing bonds because timber is a short term.
Right.
Timber is only 1 year.
Right.
You're talking 6 years on
Gravel.
a gravel pit.
But what they're doing,
I mean, excuse me,
from what
7
I
years.
understand, is that the taxes incurred from moving all the timber, gravel, sand, whatever, is what they're kind of holding as a bond. Bond, they're just using in the term as a method of payment, not that it's a bond.
No,
Yes.
what they do, that is a tax. We have nothing to do with tax.
Right.
It's a tax on timber. Once you sever the tree, it's taxed.
and the gravel's the same.
Gravel is 2 cents a yard.
Mhm.
Every yard that they sell,
Yep.
That's a tax.
that's a tax. It's not a reclamation fee. So,
That goes to the general budget, don't go to us.
Because they're not aware of not being able to accept a bond.
that's strictly in the planning board's hands, nothing to do with the town.
Right.
The only thing the town has, it says in the RSA that the treasurer shall hold said funds.
Mhm.
That's why the trustee of trust funds don't hold them. The treasurer does. And that's where that comes in. The planning board had 2 or 3 pits that I remember were not reclaimed, and there was no reclamation in the bond. Even Ossipee Ag, who had a bond, said, no problem, we'll give you cash.
The bonds were withdrawn by a couple of banks, I seem to
Right.
remember.
They
That's
went
what
under or
smoked us.
something, and all of a sudden, we had no reclamation fees. And it's a 7-year deal,
Mhm.
because if they abandon it at the end of their 6-year permit, we can't touch it for a year. Actually, 2 years is abandoned. Then we can reclaim it. But that's why
I think that's probably why the Morse pit never got done.
no, they never had the money. They've only got
Okay,
6,
so Page 6, number 8, I will change letter of credit and other bonding to cash and bank check.
Because they have the ability to tell Harry whether they want it in the CD or in the savings account. Any other places?
The other ones I
What are
see
you
at the
trying to
moment.
find, Jim?
No, I was just reviewing it, just for my own edification. So at this point, method of payment is only going to be.
Cash.
Cash or bank check.
That's
Got
what
it.
it's been for 2 years now, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
No longer than that.
Longer than that now, it's been a
Okay.
while anyways.
Yeah. And I think 5 years.
Okay. Make
did-
those
did-
revisions.
Laura, did you have anything in here about trying to think of the Mary Payton Lane, and I can't remember how many years it is that the state gives us that letter. Oh, God. Because like Gendry's is not due until 2021.
You mean the permit?
No, the state assesses they have it, and we say every 2 years that they have to bring an update. And the state is every 6 years.
Which is what we should be.
Per RSA, you can approve it for 6 years, but it has to be reviewed every 2.
Right,
An inspection has to be done every 2 years.
right.
Well, we have to inspect pits every,
Yeah. Every
I have to go every year to the pits. Planning board has to fit it.
Right.
But the 2 year thing is, they have to submit new plans every 2 years. I don't
Right.
agree with that. That's expensive. If
It's-
they got, that's not a state law, that's,
Yeah, it is. It's under
Sure.
RSA 155.
that's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, the state should back that up. If they got a 6 year permit and they give us a reclamation plan for that 6 years, that should be good for 6 years. Maybe I'll look into that.
I think the reason they
There's your
do that.
representative right there, sir.
That's what I just said.
I'm making a mental note.
I'm talking to him right now,
I think the reason
on
they-
camera.
Roy, I think the reason they do that is because if somebody is actually extracting more material in the shorter amount of time than originally
That's not what you do,
anticipated.
you got an inspector.
Yeah, that's true.
We have to inspect every year, so it's a duty, it don't belong to me.
It's called belts and suspenders.
Yeah.
Is there any other, did anybody see? All right, I will put this off until next meeting. We'll vote on to accept it or reject it. And Laura will make the changes that we brought up. Mr. Barron,
I have visited 2 gravel pits, and I think
Which
the
two?
problem with the pit on 28, which would be Fritz Heckles,
Yeah.
or Fred Heckles, is he included the area they're logging.
he was,
They logged the top of the thing.
yeah,
Well, the little metal that was behind the pit has been there. I used to live there, so I know the metal was there, and they used that for the yard, and he included that in his figures. You don't need to include the logging operation in his open area. It's not part of the pit. He's maxed out otherwise, but
no,
not over.
they cut that after he submitted that.
Well, my estimation is he's included the landing area. He's to the wire. And the other thing I have a problem with is you take, up on the, come on, Brian, get working. The Chickville there on the, the hell's the name of the road goes off there by the cemetery? Goes back across.
Archer's Pond Road.
Probably Archer's Pond Road, thank you. Drew a blank for a minute. we can't make him reclaim the old pit, but we're including the area that was already open in Heckle's pit. If you take that area out, he's well into 4 acres. There used to be a good acre that was open that was paved in there when they started.
But he, even when the state had to drew out of there, he was still the owner.
Yep, but
So
that was done before permits. So it falls into the same jurisdiction as the old pit up there on the Arches Pond Road. We can't make them reclaim that area.
I don't agree.
We're doing two standards for two pits. You can't do that. The state opened that pit when they did the new 28. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
So it did not have to be reclaimed at the time. So as far as I'm concerned, our jurisdiction starts with the banks
Well,
used to be.
the state never reclaims anything.
No, they don't.
And
That
it's up to the owner who profited from the state.
But it was
withdrawing
done before the rules were made, just like the one down there on Arches Pond. We're telling Ambrose he don't have to reclaim that piece because it was done before, but we're telling Mr. Hecko he has to, even though it was done before by the state.
No, we aren't telling Ambrose that because he's not excavating in that area.
They're not either. They started from the old bank. They have to use the open to get in there. I don't see what's the difference, because Ambrose, if they go in that pit and use it, has to go through the old pit to use it. We're not making them redo that. It's no different.
Well, Ambrose isn't gonna use it anyway.
No, they're not, but the point is, we weren't gonna make them reclaim it. You can't have two standards.
Has that been inactive for more than 2 years?
The other one's inactive more than 2 years. Don't make no difference.
Yeah, because there is something in the
We
RSA about that.
we are applying a different standard. They are gonna reclaim it when they're done, but the point is, it was already there. And Heckel has used it over the years for storage for his business, for his other landscaping business he had years ago in the cement, bricklaying business. He used to keep stuff stored down there.
Has
And all they're
Fritz-
doing is storing materials on that site and screening on it.
Just out of curiosity, has Fritz owned the property the whole time?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Fritz's father, then
Oh, okay.
when he died,
Yeah,
they
Fritz.
split it between Fritz and his sister.
His sister, they own it together jointly.
Yeah.
Barbara Rosso, I think it's pronounced.
Connie, for our uses, if a pit has not had any extraction in 2 years, do you consider that abandoned?
As long as it's still under a permit,
Yes,
all they have to do is take a wheelbarrow full of it.
right.
As long as they file their, if they haven't, like, Eastern Materials down in Shea,
Mm-hmm.
paid his taxes every year,
Oh, right.
and he didn't draw out more than what, a truckload, Roy?
Yeah, something like that. We draw enough on it.
He drew minimum,
Just enough to keep it active.
But
so he was active,
Okay.
you know.
now, I don't think our records go back far enough, but back when I was living there, he wanted to open a pit, and the planning board told him, no, he couldn't open that pit. He's been in several times when the state.
He went in, he got a ZPA, whether it was an exception or a variance or whatever it was, to open that pit. And they said that he could only have 4 acres open.
Yeah, but he tried ever since the state abandoned it to get sand out of it, and they told him no, because the state was a different rule. But my point is, the state left a mess in there, and
But, well,
we're trying to force his hand, and if you take the area the state had already dug out, that's grandfathered, in my opinion, just like over on Arches Pond Road. And we weren't gonna tell Arches, we had no jurisdiction over that, so I don't see we have any jurisdiction in that piece that was already open.
well,
I think we start from where the bank was back. So, either way, I don't think he's quite violating. He was estimating, guesstimating, and I don't think he's over his 5 acres. I am gonna go up and do some measuring, and I haven't had a truck in 2 weeks, so I haven't been able to
but,
measure.
well,
But, I
Ron
think,
Evans complained when we made him, because Fred said, I'm not gonna put the money down, you are. And Ron Evans squawked that he had to spend so much money cleaning that pit up so he could use it.
Yeah, he did have to.
And, so,
There's a lot of stuff the state left, there's stuff that Fritz put down there for the
right,
rest of it.
and so, do you wanna call that a pit, or do you wanna call that, you know, I mean, this is where we're not gonna push him, but if he wants to, if Mary goes in there, he might be in trouble.
I don't think he's in trouble if Mary goes in there.
Well,
That's my personal opinion at this
all
point.
right, that's,
Rick went down to me tonight,
I
we
agree.
both, we don't think he's over 5 acres right now.
okay, I mean, we only are going by what he says.
Yeah, I understand it, 'cause I went down and talked to him, and he says, I was just guesstimating. I says, well, you kinda shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I said, you don't guesstimate, you get some accurate measurements,
yeah,
you know? Now, he is over down the bean pit, and I told him that he's gonna have to start reclamation down there right away, because when they come in the new permits, to get that all done, because I guess the daughter's helping the old gent, they're gonna have some reclamation done, or they're gonna have to be an attachment, they
Where?
gotta get down to the berry pit. That is over 5 acres.
I understand that, and White Mountain Survey is helping him.
Yeah, well, I told him they're gonna have to get that done before the reissue. We're not shutting them down, but they gotta get that taken care of. I didn't push that last year because the old man's wife died.
That was when Eva died. Eva used to take care of all the
I
paperwork.
understand that.
And when Eva got sick and died, was back when it should have been
Well, I did-
reissued.
I did-
And,
I did tell Ron he was taking advantage of the old gent because he should be responsible for keeping the 5 acres he's doing the digging.
yeah,
And I made that very plain about a week and a half ago, just before the truck died. So that's supposed to be taken care of when they come in, they're supposed to start reclamation on that.
okay,
And I says, I don't want to shut the old man down because it ain't fair to him because he's doing the digging. So the planning board does not want to put it on the old gent.
we didn't go down to Marco's,
Who's?
Marco, Brown's Ridge.
Oh, Brown. No, he's in compliance, right down there, just for snowfall.
No, that's just an intent to excavate that we got.
Yeah. I'll go down and check it. I got
I
the
left Ethel
combination.
on there because Roy was gonna,
Yeah.
Right.
He gave me the combination of the key. I'm welcome to go check it anytime. As a matter of fact, all the pits on everybody anytime.
Master plan updates.
Before we go to the master plans, one question for Laura. Has the gentleman up on Chickenville been in yet with his stuff? Brian, is it? The one that you sent the letter to, that the guy was
No.
dead?
No,
Because I know he's working on it.
oh, Cohen,
no,
Cohen?
look, it was Cohen's, it's in Cohen's name.
Right.
It's a new
Brad
one.
Little Layton,
Brad Layton, thank you.
Layton is now, whether he's the owner or not, and there is a
He-
question,
He is working on it.
there is a question that the attorney has got to answer when he comes back next week. His father-in-law just died. But that, how do we disperse Gary Cohen's money?
That'd have to be in the will, I guess.
Well, this is the thing, is that if Brad has taken over everything and wants the gravel permit, he's gonna have to put up the money so that we can give it back to Gary's,
Unless he can prove it went with the pit when he bought it.
they know.
If it didn't, then he has to put his own money up.
That's the legal question is where,
Yeah,
and,
so we need to straighten that out too.
yeah,
Because right now, that money, that money is still tied to the old permit. When he gets a new permit, then that money got to be released to whoever it belongs to.
technically, we can walk in there right now and reclaim it with that money.
It's in pretty good shape, so I don't think we need to go that far just yet.
Well, no, but I mean technically because,
You're right, you are technically right.
because he's been dead for 2 years.
So,
Now, is Brad gonna take over the,
He was gonna have a surveyor go up, and I believe he's gonna get everything updated, and I believe he wanted to reapply for a new permit, is what I understood and talked.
no, is he going to take over the subdivision too?
I think he owns it. I can ask him. I got his number.
Oh, I got his number too.
Okay. Or Laura can send him a letter. Maybe the board may want to ask him, to Laura to send a letter possibly, be the right way to do that?
Well, I think the way to do it is just call him and say, ask him to come in, talk to us and
Would
explain.
you like me to call him? You want to call him?
No, you can call him
All right.
and ask him just to come in. Well, by then we should have a decision on what to do with Gary's money.
Okay.
And we can explain everything instead of trying to explain it over the phone.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go over the phone with all that stuff.
No.
That wouldn't be, I'm not even sure that'd be illegal anyway, so we need to get him for the planning board.
Yeah,
And the members should be all involved in that whole discussion.
correct. Everybody should. All right, master plan. Anybody got any updates after?
I have got another couple of chapters almost finished. I was hoping to have it done tonight, but I wasn't able to because of some family problems, let's put it that way. I will have the natural resources to you shortly and the population to you shortly. I also wanted to, I was looking at the existing master plan relative to the 3 fire precincts, fire districts, whatever, fire departments. And I know that the, is it the center Ossipee has the most comprehensive notation in our previous master plan, and I think all 3 should follow that pattern, that, you know, just so that they have the same type of information. And I'm suggesting that maybe what we do is give each of the 3 fire departments, you know, a copy of the existing, you know, that section of the existing master plan and have them generate for us at least the, you know,
Well,
like
that'll be done when we have all of them.
Yeah.
Completed.
Well, no.
Well, but I
When
mean,
we-
for example,
When we give everybody economic,
All right, yeah.
a draft.
a draft of.
Okay,
But there's
that's,
section along the
no,
letter.
that's fine.
requesting
No,
them
no,
to
that's
update.
fine. Then I won't even get into that.
No,
Okay. And since you're working on it as well, Laura, I should probably come in and just touch base with you in the next few days or so, just so that we're not,
The only thing I have done is the history,
yeah,
which is basically what we had before.
yeah, there's no reason to redo that. to
Plus the
speak of,
table
other
of
than-
contents.
Right, other than if you wanted to increase, bring anything up to date in the last 12 or 14 years from this one to
It's not my realm, that's your guys' realm.
12.
You guys are supposed to be reviewing and
I was gonna say,
updating.
she's limited to what she can do.
Well, I mean, saying history, that's not a big deal.
The
We're
I'm not
talking-
from here, remember?
Okay, I understand. But that segment of it will be very short. I'm saying the additional historical
Yeah,
information.
I'm not from here.
Not a member either.
I know.
Well,
Let's not get her in trouble.
No, I think it's great.
Yeah, your hair's getting whiter by the minute, you know.
So,
Yes, okay. So anyway.
you wanna bring it up, or,
Uh-oh.
up to you.
go ahead? I mean,
You had previously, because I wasn't here at the last meeting,
right,
you previously did a draft of the master plan adoption statement and the vision statement.
Yeah,
Has anybody even looked at those to see if they
yeah,
wanted
I
anything
took mine out
changed or-
tonight by mistake.
so can we review those next
We'll have to.
meeting? Okay.
Next meeting.
Laura, for your ease, 2 meetings ago, your ease of working on this, what font are you using?
Garamond 12.
Okay, that's good to know, because that way you won't have to go in and make changes, because
Oh,
I've
that
actually.
doesn't matter.
Well, no, but I can give you a.
If you email it to me, I'm just gonna
Okay,
put it to the same
She gotta fix it anyway.
Ash, you wanna say
layout
something?
anyways.
right, right. And, yeah,
I do recommend that as I had recommended before, that the board write a letter to each of the departments that are requested to be in the
Well,
the master plan.
once we get set
Yep.
first section and decide on the contents,
Right.
what we're gonna have in it, then we will copy their old section. In your case,
Chapter
it'll be a
6.
big question mark on the page.
Chapter 6, economic development.
Ours is pretty much done.
Okay.
And then we'll,
When we get past the table of contents,
Someday,
we're 4 months into this, we still haven't got past the table of
All right.
contents.
That's okay. But I
No,
would
it's not
suggest,
okay.
then, if, I guess I don't understand why you would necessarily want to wait on some of the ones that you know are going to be in it. You're going to have economic development, you're going to have police department, you're going to have maybe compressed timeframes and send the letters to the ones you know are going to be there, rather, just so you can get
yeah,
keep the
but
ball rolling.
I think that we should do them all at once time,
Right.
so that it'll be a lot easier. In other words, if we start sending it to you, to the fire precincts, who did we send it to? This way, we when we get through, we'll have a list sent to Joe Slow.
Yeah.
Did he reply? No. All right, we gotta go over and call him. You know,
You have your methods, I'm just making suggestions.
I mean, it's a good suggestion, and
Well, certainly
it's just the idea that, I mean, you can submit it to us.
that would be preferred.
If you want to submit it to us, you know, we'll take it. But, okay. The Employee of the Year election is what next? It's a yellow one on the bottom, the bottom.
I'm gonna tell you anyways, you know that.
Monday, June 18th.
Did I win? At what time?
Noontime.
What are they serving?
Food.
Oh, what are you bringing?
Bring a damn thing, you go down and eat, it's ain't good.
I'm
It
assuming
says a
that's,
full lunch will be provided following a ceremony to honor this year's recipient. It says all employees, boards, and commissions are invited to attend. Please RSVP to the Selectmen's office no later than June 13th. Basically, it's an employee luncheon, so the employees have to provide a dish.
I'm not an employee.
Okay.
They don't pay me, so I'm not an employee.
so do we
I'm a
know who our
volunteer.
employee of the year is?
No,
No,
they don't know
yeah.
until that day.
Till
I
they announce
know.
it.
I got you. I
No, it's
never
a whole big
been, never been
surprise
involved in that
secretly
process
till
before,
that
so I
day.
wasn't sure.
I go once in a while.
Unless you don't go, and then they'll call you up and say, where are you?
I got it.
Okay, the ZBA,
Uh-huh.
All right.
Why do we include the ZBA stuff on the planning board?
because
think
it's
it's a
called
good
for
idea.
in our ordinances, and if we want to,
Oh, we never used that, that's why I was asking.
It'll give us some sense of what's upcoming if somebody
Yeah.
decides to come in for a site plan review or something like that.
No, not necessarily that, but yeah.
but, I mean,
So you're aware of what's going on and whether.
I will take the blame for
I
this.
Yes,
think it's a
he
great
will.
idea, Connie.
He will, because Laura, I brought it up and Laura said, oh, you gotta give me more work.
Go stand in the corner, you're being punished.
All right. I think it's a good
Okay.
idea.
18-3, there is hearing is on our wonderful subject of Ossipee granite recovery. If they have enough members, they're requesting a full board.
If they have the members they want.
No.
Yeah, I was at the last
They
meeting.
want a
They
full
didn't do it
board.
because the members that voted before weren't all there, and they wanted all the members all there.
Right, they want a full board.
I was there. No, they want the members that was
The
present before.
the applicant is requesting that, yes.
Yes.
If possible.
That's why it's continued. I was there. 'Cause I had a lawyer with the lawyer over that.
God, we just stopped.
If
If possible. They already know it's not going to be.
Oh, they were missing one.
They asked for a full board. That's what they asked for. That was his exact words.
That is correct.
And that is the letter I have.
That's right.
It's not exactly how
Case
it was
number
written.
18 special exception, owner Douglas.
Morris.
And so, everybody can read them. I don't need to announce them.
Nope.
And I vote we adjourn the meeting.
No,
Make a motion on it.
has anybody got anything to say about any of them? Where there are a lot? The only one that is a real sticker is the 18-7B.
Why, what's the issue with that?
Pardon?
What's the issue with Steve and Debbie's property?
Well, they went and took trees down in the Shore Protection Act, and they did, rebuilt the shed, which was oversized.
Right.
And they put in electric when it wasn't,
Supposed to have it
and,
after the fact in front of everything, and you got it.
We did 2 after the facts last time.
You do a lot of them.
yep.
It's gonna be a tight site. I don't know.
Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Anything from the public?
I'm asking, and I've already asked. And Ed's keeping his mouth shut tonight. All those in favor, motion carries.
Supper time.
I was gonna tell you, I'm out of here at 8:30, and that worked out just perfect. I have to get up early.
Not
Huh?
yet, not
I already
yet.
signed all the things.